Welcome back to Trailer Trash Flips. My name is Mac and I buy things to sell on eBay and try to make a profit. A few weeks ago, we had a hurricane come through. I think it was Hurricane Francine. It's not the one that just hit Florida. I'm actually in Louisiana. And the hurricane that hit us was not near as bad as the one that just hit Florida. So Hurricane Francine, I think, hit the state as a Category 2, but it quickly lost strength. And by the time that it got to where I live, it was only a tropical storm. And even though it was only hitting us as a tropical storm, it still knocked over trees onto houses and it did a fair amount of damage. Luckily, where I live, the extent of most damage was some trees falling down. I know some trees did hit a few houses. Luckily, none of that happened to my house. So really for me, it was just an inconvenience of not having electricity. And I only went without electricity for about a day and a half. So ultimately, the only thing I lost was some items that were in my refrigerator. Previous to the storm coming, I did have all my orders shipped out, but I did end up with orders on the Thursday when I didn't have electricity. I was able to still pull my items and pack them up here at home because my scale takes batteries, but I just didn't have a way to ship them. Although I have 3-day handling on my eBay account, I do like to ship the orders as quick as possible. Most of the time within 1 day, occasionally within 2. I was also assuming that the power probably would not be out more than a couple of days, but I didn't want to take any chances. So after I packed up all my orders, I brought them to my friend Kim's house, who also sells on eBay, and I shipped them there that Thursday night and brought them to the post office Friday. Luckily for me, power did come back on about midday Friday, but again, I didn't know that, and there were still some people without power on into the following week. And I just wanted to be sure that my orders did get out in a timely manner. So while I was at Kim's house, I took a little footage of her eBay operation. I was having a little fun with the title on this video, calling it my competitor's eBay operation. And technically she is a competitor, although we are friendly competitors. I know that I enjoy seeing how other people's eBay operations are set up, so I thought that maybe I would show you just how hers is set up. You can see that she mostly operates out of just this 1-bedroom in her house. She does have one additional room with a little bit of storage in it, but not much. Almost everything that she has is in this one room. She actually has over 1,000 items listed, which is a little more than what I have. When I first started selling on eBay, I really thought that bins were the way to go versus just having shelf space. I do like the fact that I can move bins around, I can add bins in, or whatever I need to do to adjust inventory. And I was thinking that maybe shelving space would not provide as much room as I needed. But looking at the way she has her items set up, I think that shelving is a pretty good option. Right here in the middle of the room, the stuff on the floor, that's her death pile. Now, she does not have near the death pile that I do. And she brings items in, she puts it there in the middle until she can list it right here in her listing area. She does make use of a few small bins that are located on some of her shelving. But I think as an overall, I'm pretty impressed with the way she's maximized the amount of space she has. So that's a look at how she is currently set up. And I would also like to add that I think that her setup is a little more efficient space-wise than mine is. And the reason I say that is because, for one, she doesn't bring in near as many items as I do. She has always been a little more discriminating about the items that she buys to resell, so she doesn't end up with a huge death pile like I have. And number two, I think she has utilized her space as efficiently as possible. Her eBay room is not much bigger than my eBay room, and yet she has almost everything contained in that one room, whereas my stuff is spread out all throughout my house. I don't think that I'm going to switch from using mostly bins anytime soon, but I think when I can fit some additional storage in, I may go with more shelving rather than the bins that I've been using. So I really just wanted to show you her setup and show you how she's really maximizing her space and doing a better job about it than I am. Today is Wednesday. I've only got one sale going out for $20 plus shipping. I did have a couple small sales that went out yesterday. I had one item that sold for about $18 and another that I took an offer on for about $8. Didn't do any videoing of that. I was just hoping I'd have a few more orders today to show you. But the one item that sold is a cookbook, and it's the Levert family's favorite recipes cookbook. Now, I don't know who the Levert family is, but this came from an estate sale. It's a pretty good cookbook. It's one of the better cookbooks that I've ever picked up. I had it listed for, I don't know, $32, $34, something like that. I had an offer come in of $25 for the cookbook. And the buyer who sent me the offer has actually bought at least 3 other cookbooks from me. And I'm not talking about like $8 cookbooks. I'm talking about cookbooks that cost $20 to $30. So I countered his offer and I said, look, you bought several cookbooks from me before. Let's just settle on $20 for this one. I always appreciate when buyers either buy multiple items from me at one time or spread out over time. So I was okay with taking a little bit less for the cookbook. So that's really all I've got going out today. Today is Saturday. I've got 5 orders going out for a total of $52. 4 of those 5 orders were from yesterday. I did not ship yesterday because I just frankly didn't feel good the whole day. There was a weather system moving in, the barometric pressure had changed, and I had a headache the entire day yesterday. I finally started feeling better about 9:30 last night, and I'm like, I need to get some listings done. Well, I sat down for an hour and a half, and I got either one or no listings done. It was some estate sale items that I needed to clean up. One of them I was having a lot of difficulty comping. Now, the crazy thing is, when I bought this item from the estate sale, I found a comp on it. Right now, I cannot find a comp anywhere, either through eBay, Terapeak, Google Lens, nothing. This item was bought about 3 or 4 weeks ago, so it's not easy for me to go back into my search history on eBay to find it. So that whole thing right there tied up about an hour. And there were a couple more items that I went to list, and they just weren't worth my time to list them. So all in all, I had about an hour and a half of getting no listings done. The first item that sold is a vintage 1994 Mile Branch Settlement Cookbook from Franklinton, Louisiana. And this sold for $17.05 plus shipping. It came from an estate sale and was probably about $2. Next is a vintage Fisher-Price Adventure People motorcycle. This came from an estate sale. I bought a bag with 3 motorcycles in it. There was this one and 2 others that did not have a brand name on them. So in that bag where all 3 of these motorcycles were, I want to say it was marked like $15 or $16. It was half off that day, but I made him an offer of a little bit less and he accepted it. This sold for $7 plus shipping. I sent an offer out on it. I think I originally had it listed at $8.50 and I sent an offer of $7 on it. I sold an 8-pack of E-Track single slot tie down anchor points, and these sold for $8. It was an offer that the buyer sent me. I think they were originally listed for $9 and some change, and these came from the bin store for $1. Next is an Aquavo shower water filter head softener for hard water. This sold for $14.95 plus shipping, and it came from the bin store for $1. And finally, I sold Speedo adult size earplugs and nose clip set with storage case. A buyer sent me an offer of $5 plus shipping for this. I accepted it because this was either 50 cents or it came in $5 fill-a bag. So $5 isn't all that much, but I don't have hardly anything into it. Today is Monday. I've got 6 orders going out from the weekend for a total of $95.55. Not exactly stellar sales, but at this point, I'll take what I can get. The first item going out is a 2-pack of Champro Eye Black, and these sold for $6.81 plus shipping. These came from the bin store. I had bought a box of 12 that had been opened, and either 1 or 2 were missing. I think 2 were missing, so there were 10 in there. So I just allotted them up into 2s, and I only paid, I think, $1 for the box. Next, I sold a cookbook, vintage 1964 Recipe Jubilee, the Junior League of Mobile, Alabama. And this sold for $16.41 plus shipping. And this came from an estate sale, and I paid probably $2 or so for it. Next, I've got a Glass Skull Apothecary decanter. Now, this came from a garage sale. I picked it up for $1, and when I did a quick comp of this item, On eBay, there were comps coming up. I think there's some kind of alcohol or something that Dan Aykroyd has his name on, and there's a bottle like this that it comes in. Well, I thought this was it, and they go for more money than this one did. But as it turns out, this is a pretty just generic skull glass jar. And so I ended up selling it for $11.02 plus shipping. Next, I sold a crucifix fish, Legend of the Crucifix Fish. And this is basically, well, actually, it's the bone of a hardhead catfish. I think I showed these in a sourcing video before, but I'll show you what it looks like. It kind of just happens to look like a crucifix. And apparently these were more popular, you know, some years ago, because I picked up 2 of these at an estate sale. And I mean, these are old. Anyway, I sold the other one that I had, and there was something broken on it, like a little piece was broken. And I sold this one for, well, it sold for very little more. I took an offer on this of $12. I think I had it listed for $14 and something, but it ended up selling for $12 plus shipping. And I remember I had $2.50 into each one of those. But at that estate sale, the lady was making me some really, really good deals on the other items. So I didn't want to beat her up on every single thing. So I paid a little bit more for those, but all in all, I've got $5 into them, and the gross profit after selling both of them is just a little over $20. Next, I sold a pair of True Nation black jeans, athletic stretch fit jeans. Now these sold for $19.31 plus shipping, but something weird happened with these. The buyer had sent me a really lowball offer. As a matter of fact, I don't remember what it was, so let me pull it up. The buyer sent me an offer of $10.30, which I felt was really a lowball offer because these were listed for $19 and some change, and they were already 10% off. Then the buyer sent me an offer for $12.30, which I countered for $16. I'm like, 16 is the lowest that I'm gonna go. And the buyer declined that offer. Well, don't you know, less than an hour later, they bought them at full price. And the last item that sold is a 14 by 10 AC vent cover. I had this listed for either 32 something or 34 something. The buyer sent me an offer of $30, and I accepted immediately because this came from the bin store and I've only got $2 into it. I almost had another order going out today. Last night around 9:30, I heard the cha-ching on the phone. I looked, and a buyer had purchased a Hot Tools Professional Micro Crimper. And probably 3 minutes after they purchased it, I heard a notification from eBay come through, and the buyer had put in a cancel request. So I just immediately canceled it. Well, during the time I was canceling it, the buyer sent me a message, but I finished out the cancellation before I checked the message. And the message said, please don't cancel the order, just send it. Well, it was too late at that point. So I sent the buyer a message saying, hey, I already canceled the order, but it's going to be automatically relisted in a couple minutes, so you can just buy it again, but they have not bought it again. So I'm not really sure what was up with canceling it and then not canceling it. Although I do have a theory. As far as I can tell, I have the only, I think it's a 2-inch. Yeah. As far as I can tell, I have the only 2-inch Hot Tools crimper listed right now. And a lot of the others are like inch or inch and something. So I'm guessing that they maybe bought this one, then found a cheaper one, probably because eBay was showing them competing sellers. And maybe they thought, oh, hey, this one's cheaper, which most of them are cheaper than mine, but they're not 2-inch crimpers. And then they saw, well, the one from me was 2 inches and the others weren't, and decided to not cancel the order. Now, that's the only thing I can think of. But either way, they haven't purchased it again. I filed my first claim with USPS. Last night, the buyer who had bought the item that got broken sent me a message asking me if he could throw the item out or what. And I asked him just kind of hold on to it a little bit, and I checked the status of my claim with USPS, and it still says under review. I had mentioned in 1 or 2 videos back about a buyer who was asking me to be sure and pack the item well. The item was a Krups, I think it was a Krups Belgian waffle maker. He said he had some problems with USPS damaging the same exact item during shipping. So I assured him that I would pack it well. And he even acknowledged in his messages to me with the pictures that I can see he packed it well, but USPS still managed to break the side of it. Actually, from what I could tell in the pictures, it still looks like it's probably usable. There's just some plastic broken on the side. But nonetheless, I did refund this buyer and filed a claim with USPS. And the claim is only for $14. As a matter of fact, I did mention this because I was saying how this buyer was telling me these were not really worth what they used to be, and I did some research and I found that some had sold as low as what he was wanting to pay. But anyway, it's been 8 days since I submitted that claim. This is the first claim that I've ever filed with them. There were other times that I should have filed claims. Like, I had this really nice clay art platter that, even though I packaged it as well as I could, they still managed to break it. Well, I kept putting it off, and then it became too late to file a claim, and I really didn't want the hassles of doing it, so I just ate the cost. But I did go ahead and file the claim this time. So I'll wait and see what happens and keep you updated on that. I had a pretty good sourcing weekend. You know, most weekends I go sourcing with my friend Kim at estate sales. Well, on Sundays we do. The last 2 weekends, she's been gone with her family on vacation. So I didn't have anybody to go sourcing with. Last weekend, there were only a couple of estate sales, and I mentioned I tried to go to the one and there were like 1 million people there. So I ended up not going to any. This weekend, I went to 4 estate sales. There were actually 6 going on in the area, but I pretty much filled my truck up after the 4th estate sale, and I simply could not hold any more items. And I've also mentioned that me and Kim have a friendly competition when we source together, because we're both looking for generally the same type of items, and we're going into this estate sale as friends yet competitors. And sometimes there's a little jealousy of things that she gets to first that I wish I could have picked up, or vice versa. But I have to say, it's a little bit refreshing to go in knowing that other resellers have been there and are likely there when I'm there, but not having your friend slash competitor there at the same time. It was kind of nice. But I did manage to pick up quite a few items. The first estate sale that I went to was doing $10 fill a bag, like a Walmart bag. They were doing $20 fill a big bag like this one. They had fill a garbage bag for either 30 or 40 and fill a tote for 60. So I started with the $20 bigger bag and figured I could move up if I found more stuff. I really only found enough to finish out one of these larger bags for $20. So let me get all this stuff unpacked and I'll show you what I got. At this estate sale, I did not comp or test anything. Well, I did comp these because I didn't have any idea whether I should spend some valuable room stuffing my bag with these or not. But this other stuff, I did not comp. I just basically filled up the bag and called it good. But the first thing I got was this Samsung combo unit. It does have the remote. Like I said, I didn't check it, just kind of taking a chance on it really. And I found this Emerson extra bass expander stereo. It's got a CD player. You know, it's possible that it doesn't work. I'm not going to test it right now. But those two things took up the bulk of the bag. I also found this, I don't know if this even has a brand, but it's like a Santa Claus figure. Now, it had an original price of $39.99. It looks like they had marked it to $20. You know what? Just to see what this is, I'm gonna comp this real quick. All right, I'm an idiot. I looked at this sticker here on the bottom with the price, and I even saw this one but didn't pay attention. So this is a Department 56. I did see one listed on Poshmark for like $50. So if I could get 50 for this, which I don't know if I will, that would be 2.5 times what I paid for the whole bag. These two items here are for Sears Kenmore sewing machines. These are pattern cams and accessories and button holders. So I don't know if these are complete. This one, I don't know, this one kind of looks like it is. And for this one, I don't know if something's supposed to go there or not. But I was looking through the comps on these, and they're kind of across the board. There's 2 of them for $16. There's 2 of them for 28, well, less than 28. 1 for 26, 1 for 28. So I'm definitely gonna have to do a little more research on these, but I think these are gonna be okay. They also had this Kenmore instructions for a model 1913 zigzag sewing machine. Like I said, I didn't comp this, and I'm sure there's somebody out there that probably wants that manual. These are something I just threw in the bottom of the bag to kind of keep the bag from ripping from the weight of the combo unit and the stereo. I found this Singer, what is this called? I did comp this just a minute ago to see exactly what it was. Now I forgot. It's just some parts for a Singer sewing machine. And again, comps were running from like $9 all the way up to like 20 something dollars. And the last item was this little set of square saucers, which I don't have any idea if they are worth very much. I just thought they were kind of cool looking. They kind of reminded me of Fiesta ware. They were really just something I was using to finish filling up the bag. At the second estate sale, I found Wilton Cookie Pro Ultra 2 cookie press. It's still new in the box. And I also found a Toastmaster cookie press, which I just opened the lid and it is still in the plastic. Now these are marked $22 and $14. It was 50% off yesterday. And I also found this platter which has either a crawfish or a lobster, a shrimp, some clams or oysters. I'm not really sure what they're supposed to be. I didn't comp this platter. Moduli Designs. So I don't know if it's really worth very much or not. And I also found this big platter, which this is clearly a lobster. It's not a crawfish, but I still think people in Louisiana, maybe in the Northeast too, but I think people in Louisiana kind of let stuff like this slide. So it was marked 10 and this was marked 20. So that's 30, 40, 52, 62. So it's $68 total for these. But the lady that runs that estate sale told me, she's like, look, just make your pile and I'm going to give you a really good deal because I want to move some stuff. Plus, this lady knows that I resell and she knows that I have to get a certain price point to be able to buy the things and flip them for enough profit. So these are not the only things I bought. Let me show you, in addition to these, what I picked up from that estate sale, which maybe I'm not real sure about these items. So the last item that I bought were a lot of sewing patterns. I don't know how many are here, but I went to the lady and I said, look, I will offer you a ridiculously low price for the patterns in the bedroom. And I said, you know, I won't be offended if you say no, but these are probably going to be extremely long tail items. It's a lot of work and I'm just not sure about them. So she's like, how about this? How about I sell you all the patterns for $25? And I said, I think that's a more than fair price. If you look at the patterns on eBay, I mean, as a whole, patterns have a high sell-through rate. They just don't sell for much money. And I've never listed patterns before, but I'm thinking if I can list them quick, then, you know, they might not be that bad. So I'm really not sure. But here's the great part. For the 2 cookie presses and the 2 platters, it would have been $68. And then it would have been half off, so that would have been $34. She charged me $20. So I got the 2 cookie presses, the 2 platters for $20, and all the patterns for $25. So I walked out only putting $45 into that estate sale. So we'll see if the patterns were a good buy or something that I'm never going to want to fool with again. At estate sale number 3, which would have been an estate sale that, had I realized who the estate sale company was, I would not have went to. Now, as it turns out, I did do pretty good, I think, by going there. But this estate sale company is, they're overpriced for just about anything to buy and resell. I don't think I bought anything from them that was not $5 fill-a-bag. And that was the same case yesterday. So from this estate sale, I picked up an electronic happy birthday singing cake plate. Now this had, was that 15? Yeah, it had 15 marked on it, but it was outside. And I asked the guy, like, well, this isn't really gonna fit in the bag. So he's like, for you, I'll do $3. So I've got $3 into this. I only found one sold comp that sold for $65 with free shipping, and it was pre-owned. I am not sure if this one is pre-owned or not. Now the box has been opened. I think it has. It looks like the tape seal. No, that one's still taped up. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like maybe, well, I don't know. I don't know if the tape just came off or if it's been opened. So I haven't checked that yet. But either way, if I can get anywhere close to $60 for this, I will be happy. The next item was also under the carport for $5 Fill-A-Bag, and it's this Auric XL handheld canister vacuum. I've sold 3 or 4 of these before. Now this one does not have all the attachments with it, and usually I can get like 40 something dollars for these. This one will probably have to be a little bit less. I've never sold a blue one before. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure I've ever seen the blue one. But I asked him about this, and he said $5 for this. So at this point, I've got $8 into the vacuum and the singing cake plate. And then the other things were in the $5 Fill-A-Bag, which one of them was this little porcelain rabbit. I really didn't buy this to resell. I got it just to put out, you know, around Easter. I found one of these metric wonder cups, and I have never ever seen one of these at an estate sale until yesterday. Now I actually saw one earlier in the day at the, was it the second estate sale? No, this, yeah, it must have been at the second estate sale, and you know, it was way too much money to buy there. But this one was under the carpet, so I threw it in the $5 Fill-A-Bag. I picked up this platter. I don't think this is anything special, but I just thought it was cool. And the last item from there are some Chris Evert tennis DVDs. Chris Evert winning tennis, Evert on the competitive advantage, Evert on the advanced shots, and Evert on winning fundamentals. So I didn't comp that, just threw it in the bag. And from the last estate sale, I picked up these items right here. Now, you know it wouldn't be an estate sale video if I didn't buy some cookbooks. So the cookbooks were normally $5, they were half off, so I only had to pay $2.50 for each one of these. And there are a couple of them in here that are, I think, going to be really good. I've never seen this cookbook before. I've also never seen this one, and believe it or not, these two are really small, and instead of charging me $2.50 each, they only charged me $1.25 for these. But they are chock full of excellent Cajun recipes, a lot of crawfish dishes, other seafood dishes. They're just really good, so I'm probably going to end up keeping these. So I picked all those up. Now the sketchiest purchase of the day was this Ronco Ready Grill, and I did not buy this for resale. In one of the rooms of this house, there were 2 of these brand new. They are sealed up in the box, and there was a man and lady who right before me, they picked up one, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna get one of these just because I'm a kitchen gadget junkie. They had it marked for 20, so I only had to pay 10 for it. I just thought it was a neat little deal. But I did comp this, and they don't sell for very much money. They're selling for like $18 plus shipping, brand new. So there's really not any money to be made there. I found this operating engineer belt buckle. It's brass, and well, it was marked 10. I only had to pay 5. And I saw comps as high as $25 for this. I found some that were around 20, but I'll list it for $25 and just kind of wait that one out. And the last items were some Spuds MacKenzie cups. Now there was a set of 4. They're up here in this bag, and these were marked 5 each. There was one of these, and it was marked 10. So I tried to comp this one. I didn't see anything on it. These are another thing that comps were across the board. I saw some as low as $3 and something, all the way up to like $15. And I wasn't really willing to take a chance to the point where, you know, I just didn't want to pay too much for them. So at at half of $5, and 4 of these would be 10, and this would be 5, so 15 total. I offered them 10, and they very gladly accepted it because they were kind of complaining that there were not that many people that showed up yesterday. As a matter of fact, they're still having the estate sale today until 1 o'clock. This was definitely a semi-hoarder house, not in the terms of being junky, but they just had so much stuff. So they were really trying to get rid of as much as they could. I was pretty happy with the items I was able to get from the estate sales yesterday. I do have a slight case of FOMO and really wished I could have went to the last 2 estate sales, but like I said, I just didn't have the room. Now, looking at all those items, you might say, well, how could that fill up your truck? Well, it wasn't just those items. I've got about 50 boxes in my truck right now that I picked up from my commercial account that saves boxes for me that I have not brought into my house yet because I didn't have the room. I also have a really huge, I think it's called I don't know what it's called. It's this giant plush alligator, and it's something Joe, maybe it's a Sun Joe, I don't know. But my good ex-wife picked it up for me at Goodwill a little while back, and I mean, it's long. It's probably 5 feet long. So that's in there. I have a few things in there for work. I keep a air compressor and battery jump box in there. So just things like that. And in the bed of my truck, I have business equipment for my day work. So really, I can't fit hardly anything in my bed. And I don't want to put any of my eBay inventory back there anyway, because, you know, it's not, there's equipment that gets dirty and things like that. So anyway, that's why I could not fit any more into my truck. But I do have a little bit of FOMO whenever I know there are 2 more estate sales, you know, within 20 minutes, and I just can't get to them. I think that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. As always, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.